Rip add-ons. Let's see.
Welcome back to another Dragonflight Alpha video. Today I'm going to show you what is a very, very early look at the new user interface of World of Warcraft. Now, I do have to really say very early. In quite a few ways, this actually does look quite...
WoW definitely has some of the best music.
Rough. That being said, there are a few really nice pieces of functionality. And you know what? I'm not going to bury the lead. Would you like to know how much more bag space you're going to have in this expansion? Because it's actually a lot. So here I am. I can open up, I can expand. This is the new bag icon, right? I can expand that out, and now I can see my usual bag slots. There is, in fact, a new bag slot in Dragonflight. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is how this bag slot works.
This
bag slot is actually for a thing called a reagent bag. This is a new type of bag. It's not like the engineering or the tailoring or, you know, whatever, like specific profession bags that existed in the past. They are basically a bit like the reagent bank, right? So that's how Ian described them in an interview. They're not currently implemented, but the UI container for them is implemented. Now, what that means basically is that these reagent banks will take all of your crafting mats, and I presume they will take them up to an extremely high level per stack, just like how the in-game reagent bank works.
Well, we saw there's
I think that is just very nice for people's bag space. Additionally, it's also been found that 36 slot bags will be the maximum size in the Dragonflight expansion. So not only do you have 36 slots for your existing bags, but you also get a new container that's basically going to take all of your crafting mats. I think that's pretty sweet. As I go to the rest of the UI then, you can clearly see that some things are just unfinished. Here's a great example. This is like my character, my little character portrait. This is old. This is not actually looking like the one that they are going to be implementing. Here's a screenshot of that from Blizzard's preview in the past. So we do actually know that a lot of this is going to look better. This is just very early on. Now, one thing that is here is the new...
And the cool thing about this, actually, this third layout he showed, this is the way I currently play with my layout, right? I like my my health bars down at the bottom here. I like to be able to see them along with my cooldowns. So it's cool that you're able to move the stuff around like this.
Now, one thing that is here is the new world map. It looks really, it's nice, it's big, it's just really clean. Now, there are some weird things like the text here, like the alignment feels weird of all of those elements, but I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Bellular's armor
I
is
think are
completely
eventually
broken.
going to be customizable, and it's clearly very work in progress. Also, for your buffs, you have a little toggle, so if I add a new buff...
That's pretty cool,
you can toggle displaying your buffs or not, which I think some people will like.
I like that,
Then, if I go down to the bottom right, you can see that we can collapse the number of bags, and also we have a new, I suppose, more minimal-looking micro menu for all of those options. So certainly it does blend a bit more seamlessly into the game world as compared to the current default one that exists in the Shadowlands expansion. The next thing to show you then is our action bars, and this is where we have the most change, but also it's very work in progress. So you can see the options that would normally reside here just are not there yet. But I can show you that Blizzard have basically implemented the add-on Bartender within World of Warcraft. So I can move these action bars about. When I click on an action bar, I can change the number of rows. I can then make it be horizontal, or I can make it be vertical.
Completely customizable.
And I'll put the rows back like that. You can change the number of icons. You can change the size of those icons. So I suppose if you wanted to just track a few cooldowns, but you didn't want to get weak auras or something, you could probably just use this bit of UI. There's also icon padding that you can set if you want those to be a little bit more spaced out. You can then change its visibility settings. Then there's also, of course, a quick link to the action bar settings where you can enable the additional action bars, always show them, that kind of thing. Then also quick keybind mode, which I think that was added in Shadowlands, but it's all just quite
quick keybind. I never used that before.
Within the menu. What is that? Now, if I go to the main action bar, you can see that I can hide the art bar. I can also hide the scrolling. So if you want things to look a bit more minimal, you can do that. Another nice feature too is that there are layouts. So right now the layouts don't work because Modern and Classic are actually just the exact same. But you will be able to add new layouts. You'll be able to import other people's layouts, and you'll be able to share layouts. That is a really, really nice feature.
Amazing. Of course, you could import other people's layouts. You know what that means? Like people are gonna, you'll see a cool Death Knight layout, and people could share that layout. So you could have like a Death Knight one that a lot of people are using, or a Druid one that a lot of people are. That is awesome. Me, I want to hide the Griffins. Yeah, Day, I'm not gonna lie, I love the Griffins. I need the Griffins in my life. I can't play World of Warcraft without them.
Eventually, the
I
micro
love 'em.
menu, you'll be able to
Part
move
of the
that.
reason
The
why I
bag,
never
you'll
downloaded LVUI is because I want my stone griffins.
be able to move that. Minimap,
bring
you can
me
move that.
nostalgia.
You've seen Blizzard show screenshots where all those things are actually movable. So this is something that you can make look
Very
a
cool.
hell of a lot better than it currently does on the alpha build. So clearly it's
gonna
very whip.
update
And how
Trader
about I
IO
do
real
a
quick,
little
one
bit of
second.
self-promo and also show you a bit of a whip thing as well. So The Pale Beyond is the video game that we are making. Here is a mega early version of that game's UI.
The
Looks
Pale
pretty
Beyond.
Rough. Here's a slightly more modern one, and here's
People
like
gonna
the
steal
most
Sam's
modern up
layout,
to date. So
turn
that's
up
just an
party
example of how
frames.
like UIs they do develop as a game goes, because you've got to make all the functionality.
You gotta
in
have
the
party
back
frames
end,
while you're in raid.
and then
Have
you can
to.
kind of do the front end work. It's very easy to do a lot of the mock-ups up front, and the reason why the things that Blizzard actually showed us in the little preview event, and the reason I think why maybe those are not seen in here is that those were perhaps the mock-ups. I mean, some of those things to me, they look like images and Chrome tabs in people's computers, so I think that's perhaps mock-ups they had, and they're actually now in the process of implementing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to check out more about The Pale Beyond, it's a narrative role-playing game, Antarctic survival kind of theme. If you've enjoyed shows like, say, The Terror, we actually started development before The Terror, but it was quite funny because we almost ended up working with The Terror. We were almost doing a license thing for that, but we ended up deciding not to go that direction. Funny story, but for now, if you want to check out our game, you can wishlist it on Steam.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Okay,
cool.
to go back to this.
Check out his game.
The menu here is honestly... There's a major good feature here, okay? A major good feature, but
What is it?
man, does this look horrible right now. And
The whole
it's super
menu looks
unusable.
different, by the way.
So
Everything looks different
These
there.
menus used to be a lot more compact, and that meant that at a glance you could see everything you wanted to see. Now they
Yeah.
have these big long scroll bars.
Right.
And I think the thing that worries me about this, and this is the feedback I give Blizzard, is these are all very spaced out. And there's even things like just some of the text spacing feels weird to me. I find it quite hard to scan it with my eye, and because it's all so big,
he's kinda
it means
right.
I have to very slowly scroll through it all, and that means that I find it harder to at a glance look at what my settings are. I find it sort of harder to scroll through them all.
Sure.
That being said, there is a great new feature, and that is the search bar. So let's just say I've rolled a new character and I want to turn auto loot on. I can just type in
Oh,
auto loot,
damn.
and
Oh,
there
damn.
you go. It's done a search function on everything here. It's like there's auto. Because I put in auto, I can see auto run. So I
Yeah,
suppose it's
that's
also
pretty
like
cool.
a bit of a fuzzy search. So that's kind of neat. That just means that even if this UI is an absolute, just total ball ache to use, if you know the thing that you want, you can just type it in. As an example, I want to show you a new thing. So right now in World of Warcraft, this is what your bags look like. Bam. Right? You see all of your bags separately. Well, this is a new feature that they've added in called combined bags. This
That's
is
a
something you
personal
will,
issue.
of
I've
course,
never
have
had a
seen
problem with
in many
reading.
different add-ons. You got Addy bags, you got Bag On, etc.
This
But
is
it's nice
cool.
to just have it be here in the default game UI, where
Yeah.
you can just have one big combined backpack.
Yeah.
And certainly, once I add in
I've actually never used Bag On, but I'll probably do this. I'll probably do this finally.
a 36-slot reagent bag that can be crafted by
So
a
bad
tailor,
about
you
those
can
stuff.
see just how humongous that thing is going to be. Another decently
Yeah,
nice
oh,
thing is the
true.
cursor sizes. I believe that these have actually been updated to be
Oh,
higher
no.
quality. And certainly when you're in a busy
No
raiding
way.
environment, you need to know where your mouse is. It can be a real pain in the ass.
I lose
Many
my
of
mouse
us,
all the
myself
time.
included, actually use a weak aura to help us always know where our mouse cursor is. But if you just want to have a larger mouse in-game, then this is a great option. And thankfully, it is a decently high resolution. So that's a pretty nice feature. Another accessibility feature that they've
Nice.
added in is for the new empowered spells, and this is an accessibility feature, but for some players it may also be preferable. So here's how an empowered spell
Wonder if
works
they paid
by
the devs
default, right? I
For all
hold
the
it
add-ons that
in,
they're scabbing? Probably not.
and whenever I release,
Probably not.
it fires. Well, there's actually a new way of doing that. I suppose it's not new because it's a new ability, and that is press and tap.
Press
This
and tab.
mode essentially means that the first time you tap it, it'll start charging. The second time you tap it, it will actually cast. So for some players, that'll be more
Okay,
comfortable.
so instead of
this is
holding-
what it looks like here.
instead of
So
holding the button,
let
you
me
just click it, then
find.
click it
I
again.
want to find just a one-off mob. So bad news for you, Armageddon. Your day has came. Right. So I'm going to click the fire breath, and you see it auto charges. I'm not hitting a button. And then when I hit the button, it fires.
Got out of
I'll
range.
do it again for Essence Surge.
It got out of range.
I
He was
hit the
going to
button.
kill it. It got out of
I only
range.
want to cast it too. I tap it again for my second cast. So that, I think, is a pretty nice accessibility feature for some players who just don't want to be holding that down. Then another nice feature is the new
He
cast
missed.
bar. So basically, it looks so much nicer. And there's a nice little bit of UX. If your cast fails, it does a little rumble and it turns red. So that's actually just quite good for the user feedback. You really know what's going on. Looking through the graphics menu then, we don't really see new things, but we do see that it's been kind of refactored with this new style. And honestly, it does look really visually rough. That would be my feedback. Here's a great example. It would be pretty easy to see this and think that RAID graphics quality was a setting under the Advanced tab. But no, the Advanced tab actually has a click button here that expands it out. Now also there is the view density and view distance. Those are said to be longer. Certainly set to 10. I mean, I never noticed. I'd also be happy with them at 8. So anyway, that's good enough. Maybe the higher view distance isn't in. It's kind of hard to say. But anyway, there's not really much in the way of like new abilities here. Perhaps, I don't know if the super resolution, the AMD resampling solution is a new thing there. But basically, these are all what you would expect, just that they are more spread out with all of these toggles in a way that is way harder to navigate, and that is quite frustrating. It does look a little bit more complicated, I'm not going to lie. Search functionality. Now, another nice thing then is click casting. So this is pretty cool. A lot of people will have used add-ons to do this in the past, and this is not a new thing for this expansion, but it is something that was added, I believe, either in patch 9.2 or 9.2.5. Pretty simple. It's just like having a, well, you know, the mouse over casting. So as an example, if I use my left mouse click, I will cast living frame on that unit. So if I was to mouse over a unit frame and then left click that, I would actually cast living flame on that target. And if that is a friendly party member, that will actually do my heal. So again, add-ons have typically dealt with this.
Just, if you're whatever you're moused over, if you click, it casts a certain thing. I never did that. I never used that.
This is the sort of thing that was done by add-ons, but that it's available in game is really nice.
Seems like a good way to accidentally pull shit.
Target that had been just not supported for a long time. Now those things are in game. Going through the rest of the UI panels then, everything is the same, apart, of course, from professions, because professions are being updated in a very major way in this expansion. So here's a quick look at the new profession UI. Now, I've got to say, there's one thing here that's mega work in progress, and that is this. So this is basically like your character pane as a blacksmith. My current belief is that this left-hand side is going to feature a bunch of essentially talents and specializations, which is pretty cool. A lot more progress and depth within the crafting system. The right-hand side then will be showing your blacksmithing gear, and you can actually make that appear in your character while you're crafting. Right now, though, there's only room for a tool and then 2 accessories. I have to imagine there will be more, and this stuff will all provide you with crafting stats, which, of course, will impact the quality of your crafts. Then when we look over here, we can see, we've got our reagents, we have our optional reagents we can add in, and then we have our finishing reagents, which can do things like change our crafting statistics or resourcefulness or skill to end up getting a better craft. You can see the quality level system being reflected in the UI too. So this all, I think, looks great. The only problem is whenever I say go to Shadowlands blacksmithing, sometimes like it looks a little bit weird. If I go way back to Northrend, it just feels way too big, but again, it is kind of understandable. They're trying to sort of shove the old system into a UI that's got to work for this whole new system. So that basically is a look at the new user interface options in the Dragonflight Alpha. This is very early, so when they add in these new unit frames, the new raid frames, more customization options and moving options for these various different elements, like being able to move your experience bar as an example, then we can actually start to get UIs created with this system that look significantly better and a lot more cleaner than what we've seen in the game right now.
True.
But absolutely, this is Mega Whip, and seriously, Blizzard, I would implore you, keep the search function. That's awesome.
Heroic, I believe, is what the lockout was for.
Please take a different look at this. I really do just find it very hard to parse this personally. I don't really know anyone
can do Mythic right after
looked at this and thought it's better, other than that there is this search function. So search is awesome, but I think this needs to be a bit more compact, so you basically can see it all at a glance a bit easier. Okay, so that's this change in Dragonflight. Hope you found this to be interesting. I suppose let me know, what is your feedback? What sort of features do you want to see Blizzard add?
Very cool.
And of course, if you want to support us in our game development endeavors, you can check out and wishlist The Pale Beyond over in Steam. And the wishlists really do help because, hey, it's a world of algorithms, and algorithms, they love numbers. They're very hungry. Okay,
yes,
there will be more content on this channel over the...
Thank you, Bell. Thank you, Bell. Amazing stuff.